Harold Metal Music Meltdown back with another video. What do you have for today, guys? Is the next installment of my top 10 bands from each country. If you're new to the channel, what I've been doing is checking out my top 10 bands of each country, kind of exploring bands from that country and kind of finding my top 10. Some countries are really obvious. Some bands come to my mind right away. Other countries I have to dig a little bit deeper into to see what bands are from there. This is my 5th episode of this series, guys. So if you're new to the channel, definitely check out my older episodes. I started in Canada, where I'm from. Great Canadian rock and metal. I did the US. I've done Sweden and Finland. So the next country I wanted to tackle was Germany. Number 10, I had Helloween. Great power metal band. I'm not really big into power metal, but I love these guys' sound. My favorite album from them has always been Walls of Jericho and Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and 2. First 3 albums are killer from them, but their most recent album, the self-titled in 2021, where they brought back all 3 singers from their history. Killer self-titled album. Really got me back into the band and checking out their songs again. Love this album, really good stuff. At number 9, I have Exhumer. Great German thrash metal band that gets kind of overlooked in the shadow of the big bands that were kind of bigger, popular from that country. But really good band. Possessed by Fire, their debut has always been my favorite. Just a really raw sounding band, really good guitar work, really kind of gruffy vocals, really cool, really killer band. If you're not familiar with these guys, definitely check them out. They had kind of have a blend of the German sound mixed with the Bay Area sound at the same time. Maybe that's why they weren't quite as popular in Germany at the time, but really killer band. Unfortunately, they only put out 2 albums in the 80s, and then they kind of went disbanded for a long time until 2012. That's like 25 years later. They came back and put out 3 more albums. So really killer band. Definitely need to pick up more of their stuff, but really good stuff. Number 8, I went with Warlock with the front singer Doro Pesch, of course, the queen of metal. This is the band she was in prior to going solo. They only put out 4 albums between 84 and 87. I've heard all her albums on YouTube, but I've never bought any of them on the hard copy. I'm like, fuck, I need to buy Warlock's albums, always listen to them. I need to pick up copies. Finally, on Amazon, they came out with a box set that includes all 4 albums, the whole discography. So it's definitely something I want to pick up. I think it's only like $40, so it's a good deal as well. So I'm definitely going to pick that up shortly. But all these albums are killer. Just some really good 80s heavy metal. Everything you want from that 80s sound is just there. And she's got a really good voice, and you can tell she's a diehard true metalhead. Just killer vocalist. Number 7, I went with Scorpions. Of course, you can't talk German metal or hard rock without discussing the Scorpions. Standard albums for me would be In Trance, Virgin Killer, Taken by Force, Love Drive, Animal Magnetism, Blackout, Love at First Sting. Pretty much the whole string of albums from 74 to 84 are just perfect, just killer. The newer stuff's pretty decent as well, pretty solid material. And the debut with Michael Schenker was pretty solid as well. Uli Jon Roth era is probably my favorite in the 70s. But I do dig the debut and the 80s material as well. Early 80s, I should say. But yeah, killer band, some iconic songs, and very influential, and everyone knows the Scorpions. They kick ass. At number 6, I have Primal Fear. I got into this band much later, like the last 5 or 6 years. Ever since they had that tag of power metal on them, I kind of avoided them. I didn't really check them out over the years. And then one day I said, fuck it, I'm going to check these guys out. They always got a lot of good praise, and killer band. Finally, when I listened to them, I heard more traditional metal in their sound, not quite as much on the power metal side. Ralph Sheepers is a crazy good vocalist, really good range, but their music, it just sounds like 80s heavy metal, really good guitar work, great leads, great riffs, and soaring vocals over the top. I've got into this band more recently. I'm going to start definitely picking up more of their material. Really good band. Number 5, I went with the mighty Rammstein, of course, probably the most popular industrial metal band of all time. Been into this band since they started in the 90s. My favorite album from them has always been Mutter. It's got some of my favorite songs on there, such as Ich Will, Führer Frei, and the title track Mutter. Zwitter's really good too. Just some really good songs on this album. Easily the one I go back to the most. I think for their discography, I have one, two, three, four, the first 5 albums, but I didn't buy the last 3 yet. But I'll definitely pick them up over time. It's definitely worth having their whole discography. A really good band. They have a really unique sound. And as soon as you hear them, you listen to the guitars and the vocals especially, you can tell it's Rammstein right away. Number 4, I went with a heavy metal band, Accept. Always loved these guys, been into them for a long time. As soon as I got into metal, it's a band I kind of discovered right away. Of course, their biggest albums, Restless and Wild, Balls to the Wall, Metal Heart, Russian Roulette, are probably the most popular from the 80s. But their more recent albums, Blind Rage, Stalingrad, Blood of the Nations, with Rob Trujillo on vocals, is still really, really good. That's kind of where I started buying some of their material a little bit later on. But I need to go back and pick up a lot of their earlier stuff, but a really good band. Every album they put out is solid. Even the last 2, To Me to Die and Hemonoid, were really, really good. Really good band. And my top 3 were pretty much just the 3 big thrash bands of Germany. I just kind of put them in order based on how much I listened to them each. So number 3, I put Destruction, with albums like Infernal Overkill, Internal Devastation. The Antichrist is really good. Even some of their more recent albums, like Day of Reckoning, Under Attack, and Diabolical, really solid stuff. Band that never really changed their sound. They still stay true to that 80s kind of heavy metal, thrash metal sound. Love all their stuff, really solid band. Number 2, one was Sodom. Early Sodom is really proto death and black metal sound, really aggressive sounding and dark and grimy kind of sounding and evil. Definitely big, very influential band on the early black and death metal scene, with albums like Obsessed by Cruelty, Persecution Mania, Agent Orange is kind of when they kind of refine their sound, and it's kind of just the balls out thrash metal. Definitely a thrash metal classic. But their most recent release, Genesis 19, if not my favorite album from the band of all time, definitely top 2 or 3. It was a killer album. I couldn't believe how good it was. And just a killer band overall, really good stuff. And at number 1, I went with Creator, with classics like Pleasure to Kill, Terrible Certainty, Endless Pain, Coma of Souls, Extreme Aggression, and even some of their more recent stuff, Phantom Antichrist, Gods of Violence, Hedobralis, all really good stuff. Their more recent sound is more melodic, not quite as heavy on the aggressive side of thrash, but I still dig their new sound. I think it's really thrashy still, and really good melodic leads in there to kind of change it up. Vocals still sound really good on this band still as well. And killer live band. They don't come to Canada quite as much as I would like them to, but really good live band as well. Some honorable mentions that didn't quite make my list. Gravedigger, really good traditional metal band that didn't make my list. Holy Moses, really good thrash metal band from Germany that didn't make my list. And of course you can honorably mention Tankard. They're one of the big 4, but I never was really big into Tankard. They have a cool sound, they do sound good, but it's never a band I really gravitated towards. I think I only have 1 of their albums, but they're still decent, they're okay. So let me know down below, guys, what your picks from Germany would be. Please down below list some bands I might not be familiar with. I'm always down for checking out new bands. And let me know down below what country I should tackle next. So like I said, take in mind, I've already done Canada, the US, Sweden, and Finland. So if you haven't seen those videos, definitely check them out in my playlist. And let me know down below what country I should tackle next. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more great content, and keep it metal.